Hi everybody, we have our Perdi-Stone, or what I'm calling the Perdi-Stone because I don't know what else to call it. So we got our fairly large jig hook, fairly large dark colored bead. We're gonna basically make this one a darker colored stonefly. Won't say it's black, but it's gonna be darker. So we'll start our thread behind the bead, get that bead stuck in place, a couple wraps of thread, probably come back and add a little bit more thread if we have to. Okay, we're gonna use some silly legs for tails and antenna. Not really gonna put any arms on this one because of the whole Perdi-Stone theme that we're gonna have with this one. So what I try to do is use purple for the tails, and we'll use black for the antenna. We'll kind of start that where we're covering most of the purple going out the back, and we'll make a loop up here with the black in the front for the antenna. I'll cut that off once I get it started. So we'll have black antenna and purple tails. Make sure you're happy where they're at. Get them tied down pretty good. They'll move around a little bit, and we will, shorten those up in a little bit, but let's get everything set up here. Okay. We're going to tie in ribbing. This is some D-rib, the D-shaped rubber ribbing. Just tie that in on the side. Once everything's tied in, we're gonna change over from the thread to some Vivus body quill. Now you can certainly use black. I actually have like a tan or a dark amber color here. And we'll start this right behind the bead, and we'll get rid of the thread there. We'll get rid of the excess here. So we'll cover this, try to smooth it out, get a taper in there. If you notice, even though this is a brownish amber color, that darker thread and that darker material underneath kind of makes it a darker color. Let's kind of build up a taper here if we can. Try not to break the body quill. I did order some other body quill, and it did come in the mail today. I just have to go pick it up. So we'll have some other colors on Friday. One or two more times up and down the body just to get a decent taper here for the stonefly. That's probably not too bad. Then you take your D-rib, and you want the round part facing up, and the flat part should be the part next to the body. We're just gonna rib that maybe about 4 times. Tie that down, because we are going to put some other colored UV resin there for a wing case. We're not going to tie anything in for a wing case. You can probably finish this off with D-rib, or excuse me, with the, tie the D-rib off with the body quill and just finish it up with the body quill. If you want, you can change back to the thread. I'm just going to keep going with the body quill. Get this D-rib out of the way. There's a couple more wraps here. And you get a nice big thorax in there. Okay, now, tying knots with body quill is not always easy. I have a tendency to break it, but just get 1, 2, maybe 3 wraps with your knot. Don't pull too hard, it'll break, but just make sure that knot is set pretty good. Cut the body quill. Now, trim your tails to whatever length you like. I'm gonna leave them right about there. Cut this loop, and then just trim your antenna to whatever you like. I'm just gonna leave them like that. Yeah, they're kind of like legs, but the front antenna, we're just gonna leave them like that. Get your UV resin out. Coat the body first. Work that in there pretty good. Now, whenever there's ribs like this, I like to wipe the excess off so you can see the ribbing better. Wipe that excess off, hit it with the blue light. And then one last thing, put a nice big old wing case on the top. So get your darker colored resin. Make sure there's no air bubbles. There's an air bubble right there. I want to make sure it gets out of there. Nice big old wing case right there. Hit it with the UV resin. And that's what I'm calling a Perdi-Stone.